The stars are aligning, age fading, timing. Now I'm arriving. The future is blinding, neck is so shiny, from dirt to diamond. And I ride my own way. You know I'm gone, sir.
Are you ready to bang some chains? We would like to welcome you to the Lucky Ace podcast. We have a special guest here today. There's going to be some secret sauce that's going to be distributed by the one and only Mr. Ace himself, Mr. J. But we'd like to welcome Mr. Connor O'Reilly.
Excited to be here, you guys.
Man, that was solid, Lance. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, bro.
That is the main reason we added this
Bodyguard
guy to
and
the team.
hype man. I mean, he does it all. Come on.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, quick backstory on Lance. Meeting Connor today. Goes right up to him. I'm Jay's bodyguard. You got to stay 3 feet away.
I believed it, you guys. It was very convincing. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, so welcome. This is definitely like an impromptu podcast that we decided to do last minute. So I just want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to play with it and just kind of shoot some questions at Connor and just kind of get some dialogue going on here. I guess after this comes out, it'll already be known that Connor is joining Lucky Ace for the 2023 season. So first off, welcome to the team.
Thank you so much. I feel like it's a long time coming. It feels like this is something that's kind of been in the works for longer than maybe I would have liked. But it's good to see it coming to fruition.
Well, I
sure.
appreciate that. I mean, obviously, we wanted this for a long time too. I remember meeting you for the first time and being able to see your game, in person. And one thing that I've noticed in starting Lucky Ace, it's totally different being able to see these guys in person versus seeing him on TV. The discs look like they fly a lot further in real life.
There's something about just the way the camera never truly shows like elevation and things, as well as just like when you're there and you can hear the sound of the disc coming out. Like the little details like that definitely make a difference than just watching it on the screen. I feel like
most definitely. I was impressed. It was 2019?
I think so. Yeah.
Troy Kirkpatrick Memorial at Spring Valley disc golf course. So the story behind it too is kind of cool. I didn't know Connor.
Yeah.
I did not know him at all. I had a buddy reach out to me, Justin Davis.
Yep.
We all know Justin. He's part of the team as well. And Justin just hit me up. He was like, "Hey, I got a buddy of mine that's looking for a place to stay for the Troy Kirkpatrick Memorial." And once he told me it was Connor O'Reilly, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, most definitely. I'd love to have him over." So he got us in contact with each other. I invited him to the house, let him know he can stay as long as he wants. And when he showed up, I think one thing that I noticed right away is this man's a lot taller than I thought. You used to play basketball?
Yeah, basketball was my first true love as a sport and definitely runs deep in my family. I've got a little brother who's in his 5th professional season playing in Budapest, Hungary now. But yeah, it was definitely the sport that I feel like I really could have excelled at as well as disc golf, but I just never really dreamed big enough. So it was always a big motivation for me, like having the regrets of not chasing basketball and realizing as I got more mature and older that you can do anything you set your mind to pretty much, as long as you really have some kind of irrational confidence almost and irrational almost work ethic. But yeah, it was the first thing I loved before disc golf, and disc golf is definitely taking my heart by storm for sure.
Obviously you translate with that competitive nature like you do. I've seen this man compete at a B tier tournament, and then I've seen this man compete on what we're watching back here on the biggest level on the pro tour and come out on top. But we'll wait to go over that.
But yeah, real quick, back to that first meeting story. So I hit up Justin because I had known Justin, and he seemed to be pretty well connected in Central Texas, as well as I know he had some buddies in Houston. And so I hit up Justin, just like asking if he had a buddy I could stay at the house, just, really starting to dive into the local pro scene and starting to see the improvements from my working hard and dreaming about being on the road and stuff. And, on the road life, as many people know, you gotta make as many connections as you can. And especially if you're like a beginning player, it's really goes a long way to have friends like Jay who just welcome you into their house the first time you've ever met them and literally make you feel like you live there. And yeah, just like he really welcomed me with open arms and made me feel like family from the first time I met him. And yeah, I feel like ever since that, I could see the passion that he had for the game as well. And Lucky Ace had just got off the ground at that point, I think. So he was.
Oh, we just had stacks of
He just had a couple boxes in the living room and was like, yeah, he's like,
some shirts.
I could see that he was into it, and he had the passion, just a good guy. So I knew that he was going to keep growing with his brand. And yeah, I'm happy that our roads have now met at a little crossroads here.
Yeah. And we obviously continued the relationship since he came and stayed at the house, and we'd bump into him a few times on the road while we were out there, which was always cool. And you stayed with us a few times, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been that was 2 years ago. So he's right. I don't know how we didn't make this deal done earlier, but we're here now, and we're super excited. One of the things that we really enjoy about Connor, and something that Lucky Ace has definitely needed on our team, is somebody that is focused a lot on social media. You have your own YouTube channel.
Yep.
Great following. Your Instagram posts, I mean, amazing. You really know how to market a brand. And I think that's the most important thing that a lot of professionals need to understand is, yes, we love the fact that you are a great player. We do love that. But on the same, you are you're a great marketer. You know how to market somebody's brand, not only your own, but your manufacturer, your other sponsors. So that's something that I love to touch on, because I don't see that with some players that I'm like, wow, you guys are great players. You'd be a lot better if you were able to market yourself. That's so important in this sport, especially where we're at right now.
Yeah, and I think that's super valuable advice for anyone trying to make a name for themselves locally or trying to make the next step and get on the tour, which is getting increasingly difficult every year. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of players this year who were waiting to tour this next season, and then they kind of see the requirements and like, wait, like I might have to spend another year kind of grinding at home to do this. But I think doing every little thing you can do to set yourself apart is really important right now. As we're continuing to have a big influx of players, there's going to be more better and better players, and there's going to be a lot more competition. And if I'm a company and you're looking at it from a business standpoint, I've got 10 players, all of them are a pretty similar range rating wise, but I can't really get to know them super intimately. One of the next things I'm going to be looking for is what is their following like? What's their consistency with how much they're posting? How do they carry themselves on the course, off the course? Like, are they professional, or do they kind of let their personal life leak over onto their socials or whatever? But I think, it's just another one of those things you can do to set yourself apart. And I think it kind of is a requirement, but I think you can tell the people who do it as kind of like a hit my minimum requirements, make my tournament recap post, or the people who really see it kind of as a tool, as well as, some people enjoy it. I think it definitely can be a grind, but I think it's also fun for me too to teach and to share with people. And I think we all like watching good shots. So I got to thank my lovely girlfriend, Megan, for always kind of making sure I've got good content waiting to drop for you guys. And yeah, like I said, I think in a field of this many good players, if you're not doing stuff like that to set yourself apart, and you're not a Ricky Wysocki, you're not a Kristen Tatar, Paige Pierce, Paul Macbeth, there's a lot of good players, and you got to be kind of a personality as well, almost, unless your play is just top 5, top 10, which not a lot of people are right there.
Another thing that I have noticed about you, and it's starting to get into disc golf more, but you have very good style. I'm talking about your clothes, man. Your wardrobe. Yeah, I'm telling you, you match colors well. You play that. I mean, dude,
It's something I'm very conscious of. For me, I don't know. I just want to be. I feel like obviously the disc golf has already been pioneered. You know, at this point as a player, you can't be a pioneer of the game. But I think the players that are playing right now under the spotlight can really help continue to elevate the game to the next level. And I think, yeah, you might say, why do we have to dress exactly like golf? Why do we need to do this or that? And to me, it just comes down to a matter of like, as a player, how can we ensure we have the biggest market pool of fans and the most money coming to us? Because obviously, like, we love the game, we love playing, but we also see it as a business opportunity. And, you know, if me dressing nice is going to make 2, 3, 5, 9% more people end up saying, you know what, like, those people are taking that serious. I kind of want to, like, give it a second more versus, you know, you see a couple guys in their t-shirts and kind of dressed, you know, some guys got like, not hating on the tie-dye, you know, but like, you know, you got your tie-dye shirt on and like some kind of casual stuff. I feel like even if it's just a small sliver of people, and even if you say, hey, those people are judgmental or whatever, it's still a segment of this big pie that we're trying to fill up as big as we can. And I mean, I think the better you dress, the more serious people who don't know about the game are going to take you. And to me, it's just kind of a no-brainer as a player. There's so much good performance, like clothing technology out that's like, if you can't find something that you're comfortable in, or even if you have to sacrifice like a little bit of comfort just to like really represent your company and yourself in a good way, then I think it's worth it. So yeah, I wish that we would up the dress code standards on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Honestly, it's something that I've kind of voiced a couple times on our little player page we have, but something that I hope continues to get pushed in the right direction.
I think it's important. I definitely see like the level of professionalism when I see somebody dress like the way you do, the way our guy Mason dresses.
Yep.
Like you keep it professional, and it's much like the only thing I can think of is like when I was young and my dad was very big on, you know, when I'm going to a job interview, you know, dress nice. You know, overdress for the job even. That's what you want to do. You want people to take you professionally. And if we want people to start taking disc golf in a professional manner, much like they do golf, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be like golf. I mean, look at all the money that's put into their tournaments. I mean, yeah, heck yeah, we want to be like golf. We want to get that money, and in order to do that, we definitely need to hold ourselves to that standard. I know I'm saying that as I always wear like hoodies and stuff like that.
Well, you're behind the camera a lot of times.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So it's like, and I feel
so I promise if I'm gonna be, and it's kind of a lie because I didn't know. So it's funny. I caddied for Mason at DDO round 1. First off, I had no idea he was gonna ask me. He asked me like on the second hole.
Yeah,
and I was wearing shorts, a t-shirt, and exactly what I'm wearing now is slides.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, they're gonna stroke him because I'm wearing slides. But I guess you can play in slides.
Yeah, the slides, they need to fix some of the dress coding. I feel like, because we definitely had some issues this year in terms of like the things they pick and choose to actually enforce on the dress code, when really if you have this rule, you're supposed to enforce it equally. So yeah, I think the dress code could be shored up a little bit.
Can you really play in slides? Is that a thing?
Yeah, apparently you can play.
So that's the only reason, because I mentioned this to him while I was caddying for him. I was like, dude, I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm wearing chanclas, slides. And he's like, no, they let you play in slides, so you're fine. And I was surprised. I was like, wow.
If the t-shirt wasn't performance material, that's the one thing. That's the thing on the rule book that they could have got you for. But
yeah,
which they did this year. They have started looking at stuff like that. So that shows you like,
well, they got
kind of level of seriousness.
They got a caddy, the guy, hey, this is Matt guy.
Yeah,
they got him. And I think that's why like he'll wear a collar shirt underneath his shirt or something like that.
Yeah, so he has the collar on.
Yeah, which I won't get into that.
I love my guy Matt. Shout out to Matt Schlaybuck. I know he's
I don't want to like focus on that and then get him in trouble again. But yeah, it's a he found the loophole. No, it's dope. So yeah, I that's something that I notice about you. You keep it super professional. I appreciate it, because that's where we want disc golf to go. That's where everybody wants it to go.
Yeah, I think it's the least that the top players can do is just to dress a little nicer than maybe you want to. But you know, as soon as the round's done, go be as casual as you want.
Then we can wear the tie-dye.
Yeah,
because we all love wearing it. We do. So this was your second complete year touring.
Yep.
As you've been a local pro for a while, so what is the biggest hurdle that you had to encounter when going on tour? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, but what is the main one?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the game takes another jump in terms of its seriousness when it's now your sole source of income and like your play really like it matters every week. So I think it just takes another layer of like mentally preparing once you get out on the road. And, you know, like at first it's super fast paced, like me being a first year player last year on the tour. And like I've never played pretty much any of these courses that we're playing. So I felt like I had to almost practice extra to really try to catch up to all these players who had already been on the tour and stuff. And I think I was still fresh enough in the game where like I was at a point where I'm really picking up stuff from everyone's game still and trying to make my game better. And I think it got to the point where I kind of had to like rein myself in and realize like, all right, like my game's gotten good enough to where I'm now at this point. I've got a big win under my belt. I have this stuff. Like I don't really need to pick up things from other players' game as much now as just like work on whatever feels weak whatever feels kind of weak that week. And then, I feel like just make sure that I'm kind of looking at the simple ways to play the game and trying to make sure that I'm doing those. But yeah, like I said, I think it just takes another, like everyone says, you know, I want to go on tour. I want to play, you know, on tour, but until you're really out there and like see the level of competition, it gets tough. I think a lot of people think you go on tour and your rating goes up because you're playing in a better field of players and all this and that. But like these courses are tough. The fields are getting harder. And I feel like it's not, you don't go on tour just to like get good ratings. Like it gets significantly harder too, I feel like.
It's not like, you know, being the local pro. I mean, you're usually on lead card.
And then, yeah, like you have like, when I'm coming up on the Texas scene, you know, I got to the point where kind of like any tournament I'm playing, like I'm pretty much expecting to be playing for the win, or I'm pretty disappointed. And like, once you kind of you go from kind of feeling like the top dog in your area to all of a sudden, like now it's just, you're in a sea of players who can all do the same stuff as you. And so it's a matter of like really keeping your mind sharp. Like this game is very physical, but the mental obviously will always outweigh that, because when you get to the level that all these guys, pretty much everyone, like the top 50 players on tour, at least pretty much all those guys have all the shots. They have everything they need to like score on any given hole. It's just a matter of keeping yourself mentally committed and just like convincing yourself over and over that you can do it and not letting the bad thoughts creep in. And yeah, I think being on the road really just makes you sure up your mental game a lot. And yeah, it makes you learn how to play golf and weigh some of those situations a little more, I feel like.
So mental game, let's stick on that, because you went on tour your first year, and you played well. Towards the end, you got in a position to where you could take down one of these big tournaments. What was it like playing on a card with some of the top dogs? How did it feel? What was the pressure like? Because I know there was obviously a ton of pressure, because now not only do you have, because I know you were used to being on camera, right? I mean, you definitely were.
Yeah, I was just a little bit used to it, but yeah, never quite on that level.
But, you know, even though the cameras may be the same, right? Well, I'm sure they have nicer cameras, but there's a lot more people viewing those cameras. So I'm sure that pressure comes into your mind at one point.
Yeah, and my whole first year on the tour, I feel like, you know, I had like a couple good rounds here and there, but I felt like I was never really quite playing my game. Like I said, I was always trying to piece other people's games into mine, and I feel like leading up to that Delaware win is when I finally kind of started coming into my own and like realizing like, okay, I just got to slow down, be smooth, and like focus on my targets, and I don't need to try to be like anybody else. I need to just like choose the best decision in each situation. And yeah, I definitely was battling with those moments of like, all right, like this is what I've been working for. Like I'm here for a reason. This is like what I'm here to do, and like staying locked in on that. Whereas like you'd be lying to yourself if you don't have some of these moments like, man, 3 years ago, you know, I could barely throw the disc however far or accurate at all.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. I've got Ricky Wysocki trying to chase me down. Like I'm sleeping on a 5-stroke lead. Never won an A tier at this point. Never been on a feature card. Chose for a feature card at a tournament. Never played on a lead card final round at an Elite Series event. And so yeah, you definitely have kind of battling back and forth with those moments of like, all right, stay in it, stay focused. I'm here for a reason because I'm working my butt off and because I've become a really solid, well-rounded golfer. But at the same time, like I mean, if you're a person with thoughts, like you're gonna have those moments where it's like, oh man, like a couple years ago, I couldn't have dreamed about beating Ricky Wysocki or let alone playing on the same card as him. So to like be there and to like feel like you earned it, is like it definitely kind of like a transcending moment, but you can't really let it at the same time because you don't want to get ahead of yourself. So it's a weird situation.
Yeah, I think, and obviously I've never been in that situation. But I think like for me, like it's just like, and I think this is what makes it tough because like even if you would have gotten second, third, I mean, it would have been a win. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people would have seen it as that, and for me, I feel like that added an extra layer of pressure. Like that night before, I mean, I probably only slept like I was doing commentary that week. Also, the first time I ever did like official commentary, I was doing it with GK, and so I was doing commentary, already staying up slightly later than I probably would typically. And then it was just like the night before, it was tough to go to sleep. I probably got like maybe 4.5 like legit hours of sleep. But yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting there like, man, like even if I play the worst round of my life, people are gonna like I'm gonna have gained some fans this weekend. I'm gonna have a lot of people are gonna think this is like a win for me as a brand, which like it would have been, but like at the same time, like I feel like there was almost a whole another layer of pressure knowing that like if I let this go, I have 5 strokes going into this round. Like if I let this go, then now all of a sudden people are talking about how I choked it away, like whatever name X player who's choked away some tournaments in the past. I'm like, I feel like it's really easy to find yourself in that scenario. It's like I had 6 strokes on Ricky. We're through 4 holes. Now I only have 3. And I'm like, oh God, like I know how this I know how this situation goes. I've seen Ricky do this type of stuff to people all for as long as I've been watching disc golf at this point. So
yeah, that's I'm really glad that I thought of that because it's something that I feel goes through people's minds. Like, oh, just him being there is a win, and it is, but it's like getting past that.
Yeah, when you want to be one of the best in the world at something, you can't let yourself be satiated on stuff like that. You have to always like chase that like the perfection that's never going to come, but you have to keep like telling yourself that like you can do more because you can. And yeah, I think for me, like how hard I drive myself and how much I have kind of worked hard over the last few years, like has really built that. It's your guy Freddie. Hey?
Sorry about that. No, man. Now let's get back to the last final round, which is what we're watching right now. What was that point? I know you said earlier, oh, that's when I took a big breath because I was a little more relaxed. When was that point where you're like, I am probably going to take this down?
That wasn't, so I didn't have that breath of like relief, like knowing I had done it until I threw my tee shot on hole 18. Ricky stepped up and like kind of slipped through the left side and like made a lot of progress, but I knew he would have some kind of questionable gaps where like at best he's looking at birdie and I still have 2 strokes on him. And I like lasered nice straight shot. And like at that moment, I pretty much was like, all right, like I can chip up, take my 4. I probably had like 400 into the pin at the not even probably. And I have to just throw 2 straight putter soft shots and then tap it in. So like at this point, I'm like, I pretty much have it. But even then, like, I think it wasn't until I threw the drive and like a little bit of relief came over me. But then it's still like, all right, don't get ahead of yourself. Like, do not let it go right now. Because that would just be devastating. So I think once I threw that second shot, I think was when I really was like, all right, like I'm up there. I have a putt circle's edge, and all I need to do is lay it up. So it's like at that point, I pretty much couldn't lose.
What was the lead going into that 18?
I think I had 2 strokes going into 18. So it was definitely close. I mean, close enough.
I feel like that makes it even like way more pressure.
Yeah, like you said, it's another one of those moments where it's like, all right, it's yours to choke away.
Because like you said, you've seen Ricky do it. I mean, you make one little mistake, even with a 2-stroke lead, and
Yeah, and 18 at Iron Hill, if you aren't familiar, is definitely one of those holes where if you miss your tee shot, like double bogey comes up quick. So I think, that tee shot was very, very important for sure.
Most important, biggest win of your career.
Yep.
I now looking back, how does it feel like as far as like in your career, like where your career, how do you feel about taking down a big win like that?
Yeah, so I feel like it's still obviously the highest high in my career so far. Definitely hungry to get back there, and I know I will sooner than later. But yeah, definitely some I still look back fondly on, but also kind of frustrates me that I haven't like been able to get back there yet. But I think, last year was a learning year, and as bad as I feel like I played, my rating went up, my standing in the Pro Tour went up, even with the influx of 10 to 15 really good European players.
Yeah, that's a big point there.
Yeah.
Some of those big guns from Europe came over after the COVID break that they had, and it definitely shook up. And that's I mean, it's cool, right? I mean, being able to make disc golf better over here in the States by bringing in those European players. I think that's sweet. I think that's something that disc golf definitely needs. Maybe more tournaments outside of the U.S.
Yeah, hopefully as we continue to grow and the money is there to where, traveling across the seas for a month is worth it financially. I think we're getting closer, and as the Euro Tour continues to grow, and hopefully as we continue to get some of these other tours, like I know we have the Australian Tour kind of starting to gain some momentum down there, and so yeah, hopefully within 5 to 10 years we have like a pretty international schedule, or maybe 2 trips of the year out of the country and stuff. But yeah, the U.S. does seem to always really corner those top level sports markets, so I don't think the bulk of the tour will leave anytime soon.
No, for sure. So let's get to the good questions. Who do you hate playing with? No, I'm playing. I'm just kidding. Don't answer that.
So, hope y'all got some time. No,
no, I'm kidding, man. What's your favorite? What's your favorite thing about being on tour?
It's probably, aside from, I love the competition. Like I'm such an active person. I love, like, you can ask my girlfriend. I drive her crazy a lot of times. Just like how much it doesn't even matter what I'm doing. As long as I'm moving and doing something, like I feel better than if I'm just like, or even if I am sitting, like I gotta be doing things or working or whatever. But, yeah, I think the moments where we do get to relax though, and just see this pocket of the country that I probably never would have even thought about going to. I think those are obviously some of those like amazing moments you have as a human that just like, you got to be appreciative of, like being young, being healthy, having the freedom to travel, and having the freedom to like chase something that you truly enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love it. I that's my number one thing about running Lucky Ace that I enjoy is the traveling part. And not only that, these places that we go travel, I mean, we're not going to Chicago. We're not going to New York.
Yeah.
We're not going to LA. We're going to a bunch of places that I honestly, before disc golf, have never heard of.
Nope.
There's smaller communities, and I absolutely dig it. I think it's cool being able to experience a place I've never heard of, and see these like sites that I wouldn't even think of like even enjoying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that I went to this year that I really enjoyed. I did like DDO. I mean, it's a small place, right?
Yeah.
Emporia small. I had fun, but I think like the ones that I really enjoyed the most because of like the scenery.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Ledgestone. Ledgestone was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Peoria is fun, but the best one was USDGC for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that North Carolina's disc golf courses were that great.
North Carolina
anywhere
has
you go,
some amazing wooden golf, and it's well known for pumping out. Like if you play in North Carolina and you get good, like you're good at hitting gaps, you're good at throwing straight, and yeah, they definitely have legitimate claim as one of the better disc golf states. I feel like in the United States for sure.
Yeah, and it's true.
And obviously USDGC is just in the northern tip of South Carolina, but I think there's more bulk of players in North Carolina and in that Charlotte area just north of the border that most players.
Most definitely. And you got a new teammate from there that you didn't even know.
Yeah.
We also we already put on the last podcast, but our guy Raven's from there.
Yep. Raven's one of my favorite guys to play with on the tour for sure. He's a chatter. He loves talking. He loves talking through his stuff on the course.
Loves it.
He's like,
loves it. I loved seeing him when he was on coverage. Just the way he got interacts with the fans and stuff like that. He's a character.
Yeah, Raven's. He interacts with the fans and cameramen and stuff more than probably anyone. And I think it's part of how he deals with his, feeling the nerves and feeling the pressure. Is that, like when he has these moments where he reaches out to people, it helps him feel connected and and calm and kind of he feels that human connection that makes him relax. So I know why he does it, and it definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, he does great at that. I had the pleasure of meeting Raven last year when he came to Texas to warm up for the Victoria Open.
We won't talk about that tournament. Don't look at my PDGA page, you guys.
Well, I mean, it was freezing.
It was the worst conditions I ever played.
Some people, people finished in the dark because it was frozen everywhere.
Probably.
Like it was crazy. But yeah, no, that was a fun time and very excited to add these two guys to the team. I think this is a great move for us. Having you and Raven added at the same time. I think it really boosts us because I know you're still Texas and but your reach on social media is no longer just a Texas thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I see you doing YouTube videos with the likes of the world champ. You know what I'm saying? Like I just saw a YouTube video with the world champ on there, and then the cool guy Nate Perkins, man.
Yeah. James and Nate are my guys. For
sure. I think that's super cool. That for just me watching, I saw Nate really take you under his wing.
Yeah,
and that was really cool, especially for a guy his stature. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when I first started, Nate Perkins, like that's a household name for disc golf
for sure.
And to have him kind of take you under his wing and show you around during the tour, I'm sure that helped a lot because I see a lot of other disc golfers when they go on tour, they don't have those friends, they don't have those groups that they can gravitate towards like you did. And not only did you get a group, you got a solid group that you tour with. I mean,
for sure, yeah. That crew also includes like Paige Pierce a lot of time and stuff. So just like having them kind of take me in and seeing the way they viewed me and kind of like, I almost even feel like the way I came in and approached the game, super serious and super professional. I feel like I almost made some of them kind of look at like, okay, like this is legit. And like, we got some of these young kids coming up. Like we gotta make sure we're keeping our game tight. So like, it's been really fun having those guys kind of in my corner and to learn from. And like James, especially, I've noticed like through our kind of relationship evolving, I feel like I've got him to start talking crap more than like I've ever seen him talk crap to people. And like, I've got to the point where he wants to beat me so bad, like every time. And we're like, we can't just play a practice round. We're always like trying to put a little wager on it. We're always like battling it out. So yeah, just seeing like the way James interacts with me kind of evolve over the last year and a half has been really cool to see him open up and kind of, because he can be a really reserved person at times, but definitely someone you can learn from in terms of just like the way he snaps into being focused is just like unlike a lot of people. I think that's his number one kind of asset he has on the course is just like, doesn't matter what's going on, what he's been doing, whatever, he can just like snap into that moment of focus and like make himself believe. And that's definitely a very important thing to have.
Make himself believe, like that shot, right?
Yeah.
What an amazing shot. I won't go into it because everybody's talked about it and we know how amazing that shot was. So.
I thank him all the time for making all of us some money with that shot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was amazing. It put us on the top 10. Number one.
Yeah.
ESPN top 10. It was such a great moment.
Arguably the greatest shot in the history of any sport, but we can debate that in the comments later, y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of. The thing is like explain. Here we go. We're talking about it.
I shouldn't have said anything.
I mean, no, you're good because like obviously it's a great like the moment. That's what people need to understand, and that's why I think like people will even try to argue it because they just don't understand disc golf.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't understand.
And that's understandable. For
they don't understand that moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't understand that he's going up against a dynasty essentially, even though we don't play a team sport. Like Paul McBeth at this point and Ricky Wysocki are the two kind of dynasties in our game over the last decade. So yeah, that's definitely just so many improbable things.
I mean, I like people are like it's like a buzzer beater, and I'm like, yeah, but better. I don't.
It's like a buzzer beater from the far corner of the court where you throw like
for the championship
hook shot. Yeah, I don't even know like what.
It's game 7.
Yeah, there's. I try to compare it to basketball, but for me, it's hard to pick a spot on the court where it's even like you have to be like opposite 3-point line or beyond almost, and the moment would have to be like, like if the Pistons in 2004 were to beat that Lakers team with a buzzer beater type of thing, like yeah, it's just crazy.
It's incredible. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like we try to compare it to other sports, and it's almost impossible to do because that shot, you're not supposed to like. You see buzzer beaters, a lot. This is the one time I don't think you've ever seen a shot like that in disc golf ever before.
Yeah, definitely not on that level.
I mean, I know everybody loves, and I'm not
whatever
talking
has
trash. I love the Philo shot, right? You see that the most with disc golf. That's a great shot.
But James had to throw it in.
The pressure, the moment.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna get beat for this, but it's like that World Cup moment. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that happens every year. You know what I'm saying? Like it happened one time in disc golf, and man, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing by the disc golf Jesus. You gotta love it. So yeah, I love the fact that we did this today without a script. I had no questions lined up. You know what I mean? We just were like, hey, Connor's gonna come up and play the doubles. Let's do our first podcast with no notes, no nothing. And I'm happy that we were able to sit down and do this in the new shop.
That speaks to how good of a person you are, and that we have a good relationship. So I think,
and I was confident that we'd be able to come in here and talk. But I do. Well, the one thing I really like about you is that you did, and now that you're on the team, I mean, you were there. You did see us at the very beginning, and I'm talking. I think I had probably like 10 totes of discs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
In front of the fireplace.
10 to 12 totes. Like, yeah.
I had my Nissan
I think
Altima.
you had like an order of like Discmania stuff.
I just had Discmania.
I think it was just
Discmania, and I think that was it.
It might have just been, yeah.
And maybe some Discraft, I think. I think those were I think
remember at that time, like you were reaching out to everybody, but obviously when they don't know who you are, it's like,
they wouldn't. It was hard. Yeah. It was really hard to get be able to start selling.
To get the wholesale deal, yeah.
Yeah. Now it's a little easier thanks to the likes of, people like you. I reach out and let them know. And that's honestly, like, that's the first thing that I say when I talk to new manufacturers, like, hey, I sponsor this, and this.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's your,
for sure.
Just fill this out and we'll get you set up. Yeah. I'm excited because the team up, I can think of so many different stamps in with the Lucky, and the Irish, the big Irish.
I've already kind of been theming myself based off of going with the clovers, and you got to use with a name like Conroe O'Reilly, you kind of gotta rock with the Luck of the Irish type of stuff. So it's just like,
no, you most definitely.
It's gonna happen. You might as well do it.
But you, like I said, you did. Hey, we were a bunch of discs in front of my fireplace, and now we're sitting in a shop with a nice couch. We got a TV. We're watching your win in Delaware, and I feel like it's perfect timing because I feel like we're still have a long way to go to be recognized, and I think you're definitely one of the guys that's going to help us get there.
Yeah, and I think just the extra layer of support that I know these guys have already started to provide and are going to continue is just going to help me focus less about just the financials while I'm out there on the road and more about just like, what do I have to do to feel good? And what do I have to do to be the best player I can be? Because I feel like whenever I can just put all my energy into that and don't have, my mind getting pulled in other directions, I feel like I can be the best any given weekend. So
I completely agree. And I think that's one of the ways that I was, when I went to approach you about it, I was like, hey man, like it was at Ledgestone where I noticed, I was like, you finish playing and then boom, you book it to the flyer mart. Mm-hmm. And then there he is, he's setting up and he's selling his own disc. And I think that's something that people need to understand. Like these professionals, they have to not only play well and focus on their game, but he's also out there, selling his discs in order to continue to go on tour and be comfortable. So, the one thing that I really wanted to focus on with you was being able to help you by setting up. We have somebody that goes on tour and has a pop-up for Lucky A. So now he'll be able to take care of your sales for you.
Yeah, that'll be a huge help for me because I don't mind popping up and selling. I enjoy the interactions. I enjoy that stuff. But when I'm trying to put as much time as I can into playing, sometimes it takes away from those extra 100, 200 made putts that'll make me feel really good and crisp the next day. And so I think having that extra help from Jay and, like he said, being able to just, put my stuff off with his table or have him help me sell is really going to just help me put more time towards myself on the course and just really going to be a huge help. Yeah.
And that's what we'll be doing. So if anybody that's watching this is going to be on any of the tour stops, make sure to stop by the Lucky Ace booth, and we'll have a nice section with Connor's discs. And then be on the lookout for some custom stamps.
Oh yeah,
by Lucky Ace that will also feature Connor. You can check that out on the tour. We'll have it in this shop, in the shop in Helotes, and of course our online website. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to work together.
I want to thank you as well.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for us, and I know that we can grind hard and make this a big opportunity for you as well.
Yeah, I think together we all need good partnerships, and at the end of the day, we all have to look out for ourselves. But I think when we align ourselves with other people who are good people looking out for themselves, but also friendly and also understand business, I think it's a no-brainer to give yourself as many strong partnerships as you can. And I feel like this one's gonna be a good one. I already know the vibes are great, and I just feel like family here, and I know Jay just knowing how much he's always supported me, even when we didn't have this deal, just lets me know how good it's going to be now that we do have this inked partnership or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, Jay definitely almost, gives me that like fatherly, just like extra layer of like,
I'm not that old.
I'm going to be all right. No, he's not. He's only like 2 years older.
Yeah,
than me,
no, I get it. And I get it a lot. It's funny. I haven't told anyone this, but it's hilarious, and it's like the way people view me. I went up to Val and I was just like, I really see you as like a little sister to me, and immediately the way she is, because how she is, she likes to jab.
Yeah,
she goes, more like a dad. And then she stops. She's like, no, more like grandpa. And I was like, wow, man. So I'm Papa J is what I get called a lot. So
that's fun. That just shows just kind of the way you have thick skin. And we were playing some doubles earlier today, and like having Lance and Jay, they had a little bet on our teams playing, and there was some healthy crap talk going on. And I really am a fan of a good little banter, especially in those practice situations. Because for me, I want to, as much as I can build the pressure in the practice, I want to do that, because it's hard to recreate pressure, that tournament pressure.
Yeah. So
the more opportunities I can have to build that pressure off the course, like the easier and more natural it feels on the course. So I love that stuff.
We can definitely do that. I'm going to take credit for Marcus's game getting better, because before, you couldn't even like breathe around that guy before he putted. He would distract him no matter what. And now he's right there. And now, I've
definitely noticed he's shaking some stuff off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He used to, oh man, I used to get him so many times, and it got in his head. And now it's to the point where I don't have to do anything, and then I already get him. But no,
he's waiting on it now.
Yeah. So, one last story that I want to say, and Marcus.
Oh God, he's doing it.
a little insight. So when we played with Connor last year at Roy G, we were on 18, and you brought up an interesting story about our guy Marcus right here, and I give Marcus such a hard time about it too. I think it's hilarious. Go ahead and let them know your first experience playing with Marcus.
Okay, so this was like probably my my third ever tournament maybe. But at the point, like I'm starting to really get into disc golf, and like I'm kind of figuring out the tournament game still. Like my physical skills are all right, but they're kind of a little wild. You can tell I don't really have control of my body yet, probably. And Marcus, I just remember being always one of the players I would see towards the top of the leaderboards in the advanced field that I was playing in. So playing on a card with him. I think we were like the third card or something. So like kind of, in the mix to make to get our merch and whatnot. And we have kind of an open over a hyzer field shot. And I probably was a meter away from my disc wherever my foot landed. But Marcus called me on my one and only foot fault in my disc golf career. And Jay gives him a really hard time for it. I think Marcus, because, he helped me focus up and realize like, okay, you can't just throw the shot lackadaisical and like not care about where your foot lands, because now you're gaining an advantage on your competitors who are honorably trying to like put their foot in the right spot. So I think for me, the next couple of weeks I really focused on getting my foot to the right spot, and then I think that ever since then I kind of haven't had to think about it as much. But yeah, but that was back when you had to you like got a warning or you had to have a second or whatever. So I got to rethrow without a penalty. It was weird the way. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. So that right there, you giving him credit is what I hate because like because Marcus will not let it down. He says, I helped him. I helped him become a better player as a joke, But yeah, I guess it did help.
But I think that just goes to show you can spin anything in a positive light, and you can learn from anything, whether you think it's good or bad. Like learn from everything, you guys, and use it to get better.
So thanks, Marcus. All right, that's the last little story I just wanted to kind of go over. So I just want to thank everybody for watching our first podcast here at this shop that I would love to say I built, but I know Jason Maith was the one that built this shop, and he did such a great job. And we accidentally set up a really cool podcast area. So be on the lookout for more pods. Be on the lookout for Conroe O'Reilly on tour. And our website, because we're going to have tons of stuff, not just discs, but merch too, as well, to help support him. So, be on the lookout, and we appreciate y'all tuning in. But what I gotta say, because this is something that I look forward to whenever I see one of these pros on there, at least that I sponsor, is when the person asks, do you want to shout out to your sponsors?
Oh yeah, I will absolutely shout out to my sponsors. First off, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today and watching this video. If you're still with us, I think I'm really happy to be here with Lucky Ace, and I'm looking forward to getting to know some more of you Lucky Ace fans and getting to interact with you guys some more over social media. Like Jay said, I'll be very active on YouTube throughout the season. I just got done with the Vlogmas grind, so if you haven't seen it yet, I've got 25 fresh videos waiting on you. Day 1 through 25 of December, where pretty much everyone we're playing on the course. A lot of good guests. We got, like he said, James Conroe, Nate Perkins, Luke Humphreys. We got Eric Oakley on there. So we had a good little slew of guests. And so I'll be active on there, and got to give a big shout out to Latitude 64 and OTB Discs, who have been supporting me since I've been on the tour. And now also a special shout out to Lucky Ace Discs, my third sponsor that I am now adding, and super excited. Just got goosebumps saying that, because I feel like it's like we said a lot. It's something that's I feel like has been
a long time coming.
Yeah, it's been overdue, but we're here. That's what matters.
Perfect. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, shout out to Lance for just being our background bodyguard. We need the bodyguard.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Lance.
Absolutely, thank you. One thing real quick, make sure you subscribe to Conroe O'Reilly. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to Lucky Ace Disc for more great content.
Yes, sir. Peace out, y'all.
See y'all next time.
It's fading time. The stars are aligning. It's fading time. Now I'm arriving. The future